Well, guys, this weekend, Attack on Titan gave us another reason why it'll be considered one of the greatest animes of all time. They released a 1 hour special entitled The Final Chapters. In this special, they had two different chapters. The first one was called The Rumbling, and the second was called Sinners. A lot of things happen in these two chapters that give us a vision into the endgame of the series and the direction that they're going to take it. And in this video, I will share my reaction and review the latest installment of the Anime Masterclass and provide an in-depth analysis on how I think Attack on Titan will provide the best ending of the modern age of anime. But be warned, this will be full of spoilers. Welcome to my first anime review. I'm Jaden, and today we'll be talking about Attack on Titan, Final Season, Part 3? Part 4? I'm pretty sure it's Part 3. It's been so long, who knows at this point, but anyways, let's start from Chapter 1, entitled The Rumbling. We first off see Eren walking through the capital, and he stumbles upon the kid that, if you remember from Season 3, Episode 12, that's the same kid who was pickpocketing in Sasha, I believe it was. He's getting assaulted for stealing. He got caught up again. He questions whether or not he should get involved in helping the kid, or should he just leave him be because they're all going to die in the rumbling pretty soon anyway. I find this interesting that they decide to start this chapter off like this. And in all of Season 4, we see Eren as a cold, sadistic person, hell-bent on providing chaos to the rest of the world as they provided it to the inhabitants of Paradise Island. But the fact that Eren decides to save this boy anyway and confess his sins before the kid after he saves him makes me feel like we're still seeing the same old Eren that he's always been. You know, maybe he's not as evil and twisted as we once thought, but he's just so full of hatred and now confusion that he's trying to repent the actions that he's going to commit in the future. And also with the little kid, his name is Ramsey, and his little brother Halil, we are first introduced in this chapter to these characters when they are collecting money, the money that he's stealing from people. He's saving it up in order to get out of the capital and, you know, find a better life for his people. And I find that eerily similar to how Eren and Armin was when they were little kids inside the walls. You know, Armin had that book and he was dreaming about the sea and how, you know, the world was so different from outside the walls and off the island. That's all they wanted. That's all Armin and Eren wanted, was to get away and out of the walls. I find it funny that the comparison between Halil and Ramsey and Eren and Armin are very, very close. They just wanted to get a better life, you know, because if you think about it, the Eldians inside of Marley are just like the Eldians on Paradise Island, but they're not being held hostage, basically. They're being treated a lot differently and a lot worse, but they're still the same people. They still are hated. And I just find that important to the fact that Eren doesn't see that similarity. Or maybe he did. Maybe that's why he apologized to the little kid. But I believe that in this scene, we see Eren second guessing himself, because even if the Titan problem would end, that would mean that all of his people would die. So he kind of has to either choose between his people, the people of Paradise Island, or the rest of the world. And I believe that he feels bad about the decision that he made in this situation because, you know, he's biased towards his own people, but he also sees when in Season 12, when they first arrived there at the capital from the port, he realizes that they are just like them. They're people just like him. They have children. They love, you know, they care about each other, but they're biased against the Eldians. And I think Eren is struggling with that fact. I think he's hoping that maybe Armin and Mikasa and the gang would be able to stop him. And we're going to get back into that later on in this video. But the next thing that happens is very important. The rumbling itself. That's why this chapter is named The Rumbling. And in this very scene, the boy Eren confesses to is crushed alongside his brother while they're trying to flee from the Colossal Titans. The destruction provided by Eren in his attack form is beyond comprehension. The Titans completely level everything in their path, and Eren in his newfound Titan form loses all resemblances of humanity. And going back to that parallel between Armin and Eren and Ramsey and Halil, the fact that Ramsey and Halil get crushed and die, maybe this is like foreshadowing, and maybe Eren and Armin will also perish due to the fighting between the two sides. So, I mean, if that is the case, then Halil and Ramsey is obviously a parallel to those two characters, to Eren and Armin. Getting past that, the rumbling was a very tragic event. Going to a little brighter note on this terrible situation, we find that Armin and Annie are actually rather fond of each other, because if you think about it, when Annie first crystallized herself and was captured, Armin and another person, I can't remember who the other person was, Armin was the only person who would go visit her in her crystallized form. And when she finally decrystallized, Annie remembered that, and she was so thankful because she was still conscious in that crystallized form. And Armin was the only bright side of that, because she said that she was bored out of her mind literally the whole time because she didn't have anything. She was just mostly trapped in a dark room. The only solace that she got out of that was Armin, talking to her, telling her about things. And she asked Armin why did he do it, and she guesses because to get information out of the enemy and all of that stuff. But I believe, and Armin also confirms this, I believe that Armin actually likes her, and Annie also likes him now because he showed support to her and for her in that situation. And I just find that as a highlight on this whole fiasco. Love is still able to prevail even in the darkest situation. So also, Annie decides she's done fighting and just wants to live the rest of her life in peace. But Armin is dedicated to bringing Eren back to the way that he was by any means. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Annie is going to provide a major in this fight, and we'll get back into that later. So just stick with me. But the happiness and the comedy doesn't last long because we're right back to the sadness when the Colossal Titans catch up to the gang and Hanji decides to sacrifice herself for the betterment of the group. They flew away from the capital and landed at this air facility, or this port, I can't remember which one it is. And just as they land and get the plane on land, Floke appears because it turns out he was hanging onto the ship the whole time. And he tries to shoot and kill everyone there, but he ends up damaging the fuel tank, and in the process making them take more time and getting their plane ready. And as soon as they start to repair the plane, the rumbling catches up to them. So in order to buy them more time, Hanji decides to sacrifice herself and go head first. In this absolutely badass scene, she passes on the title of the commander of the scout regiment to Armin and dives into the Colossal Titans, killing them one by one. But before she does that, she goes up to Levi and asks, will their fallen comrades, Erwin and all those guys, Pixis and all of those guys, will they be proud of who they are now? And she sounds really like Erwin in this moment, thinking towards the future and hoping for the betterment of them and the world. And I think on the new Jaegerist, I think Floke's death really drove her over the edge, and she didn't really have a choice. She thought that now was the best time to die because she's seen so much pain and heartache. I feel like that was her last ditch effort to help out, because she was the commander of the scouts. She was ahead of everything, and she feels probably guilty to some degree of the way Eren turned out. Chapter 2, called Sinners, begins with a group of honorary Eldians and some Marlians coming to an airship facility at Fort Salta to find out that all of the airships are heading towards the Colossal Titans as a last resort effort to slow them down. They're filled with bombardments that they rain down upon the Titans, only killing like one or two. They're not really doing much damage to the Titans. in this scene we get a great speech from the general, and I think it also has to do with a lot to do with what the future of Attack on Titan universe is going to look like, because in this speech the general says that maybe they shouldn't have treated the Eldians the way that they did. Maybe they should have tried to reconcile peace. And he says that if he had another chance, he would do things differently. And I think this is such an important part, because I believe after this happens, and the Eldians, the people of Paradise Island, you know, Armin and Mikasa them actually stop Eren to some degree, I feel like the world will see them in a different light and actually realize that they're just like them and they want the world to be a safe place for everyone. But before we get to that part, and before the guys get to Eren, they start to hatch a plan as to what they're gonna do against him in that form. They first try to reason with him, talk to him. That doesn't go well. He takes them to the Founding Titan area or arena or whatever you want to call it, and he basically tells them there's no way he's stopping the rumbling. At this point, he gives us a great quote that says, "In order to obtain freedom, I would take freedom from the world." And to me, this means, like I said, it's basically two sides. It's the people of Paradise, the island that Eren is literally going crazy to protect, and the rest of the world. And I feel like he was struggling with this decision. You can see when he's basically confessing to the little boy. He's like, "I'm sorry for what I have to do, but I have to do it to save the people I love, because we've been hurt too many times, but I don't really have a choice in this because the world isn't gonna stop." But I think Eren just basically wants to die. He wants to be stopped. He wants Armin and Mikasa and Levi to stop him in order to be kind of like the common enemy, you know? Because I feel like this is kind of like a Lelouch situation. If you guys watch Code Geass, Lelouch basically created the Black Rebellion in order to make a better world. You know, he fought against the Britannians, his family, in order to create a common enemy. Everybody was against Zero, especially in the last episode, if you remember that. And once you have a common enemy, like say aliens invade the world or whatever, people will join together even if they don't want to in order to survive. So I think this is like a similar situation in that idea / concept, if you think about it like that. So I think this is going to be like a Code Geass situation where Eren basically sacrifices himself for the greater good. Going back to the Annie situation, on the boat when they finally leave and the plane takes off, Gabby and the other boy name, I can't remember his name right now, they tell Annie that they can see Zeke's memories because they ingested his spinal fluid whenever they did that in season 4. And they say that because if you think about it, the female Titan can copy characteristics of Titans that she ingests and can use their abilities. So maybe, like I said, maybe Annie will play a bigger part than we originally thought. Maybe she will ingest some of Zeke's spinal fluid or something of his, and maybe she'll be able to use the Founding Titan's abilities in order to stop Eren in some way. Because honestly, there are 3 possibilities was to reason with Eren. That didn't work. The second one was to blow him up. We see Peak has the bombs across her chest. I believe either she's gonna sacrifice herself in order to try to kill Eren, but I also don't believe that'll work. And their third choice was to kill Zeke, because Eren ingested Zeke in order to gain the power of the Founding Titan, hoping that if they kill Zeke, he will lose the power of the Founding Titan. But I honestly don't think any of those solutions will work. I think Annie is going to be the deciding factor in this, because if she can control the Founding Titan, maybe she can turn all of the Colossal Titans on Eren and defeat him that way. So I feel like this would be a very interesting ending if it ends like that. And yeah, the chapter 2 basically ends with them arriving at Eren. They get off, basically jump him, and at this point the Beast Titan is spawned. Eren's new attack time. Like I said, and it'll solidify his place as one of the best anime, not just anime, one of the best pieces of media of all time. You know, it has a great story, great characters development, great animation. Everything is just literally S tier. So I can't wait to see how this ends. I actually had the last volume of Attack on Titan, but since I started from season 1 on the anime and I've watched all the way up to now, I don't want to spoil myself. Even though I'm really, really, really wanting to know what happens and how it ends, I think I'm just gonna hold off and allow the story to play out the way it's supposed to. And I'm pretty sure I feel pretty satisfied with even no matter how they end. I'm pretty sure I will feel satisfied with the way they ended. But yeah, this is really just the end of this video. I was giving a little insight and a little summary on how I think the show will go and what direction it'll go, maybe how they'll end it off. I hope Eren survives because he is a good protagonist, and I feel like he is good at heart, but honestly, I doubt he will. You know, it doesn't seem like he has any way that he can survive this situation, because we all know the good guys are going to win in the end. If they don't, that'll be even a bigger twist and an even better ending to me, to be honest, because Eren is super overpowered right now. He literally has thousands of colossal titans at his command. So well, I guess we have to see about that. But yeah, this is the end of this video, analyzing how I feel the show will go and the direction I believe it'll go, and a little summary on everything that happened in the final chapter special. But if you like this type of video and you want to see more, comment down below, subscribe and like, and let me know what other animes or TV shows or whatever you want me to react to and review, and I will. But anyway, that's it for this one. I've been Jaden. Peace.
すっげえ長い夢を見てた気がする。だけどなんだっけ、思い出せねえな。
エレン、どうして泣いてるの？